Okay. I don't know if I can compete with, shepherds in sweatsuits. I will do my best. Will you pray with and for me, please? Bringer of joy, may all we speak and hear be a light to others, a path to love and peace and joy. In all your names, amen. So today we continue moving through that church season of Advent, of waiting and preparation for Christmas, for the birth of Jesus. This Sunday with the pink candle that Colin lit, the candle of joy. And our readings reflect that joy. Isaiah with all the images of peace and harmony, and Mary singing a song about justice and hope for everyone. Joy. And yet, both Isaiah and Mary were in situations that could hardly be called joyful. Isaiah and his people, our ancestors in faith, were in exile. Far from the land that they believed God had given them, far from the temple where they had thought that God lived, trying to figure out how to live in a new place without the place that they believed God was. Now, Mary, on the other hand, was a young woman. She was pregnant outside of marriage in a culture that condemned childbearing without marriage. Both were in places that could be deemed dire and fearful. And yet, they both responded to that situation with joy. There is indeed so much to be joyful for. Isaiah and Mary both praise a perfect world to come, where there's to be peace and harmony between nations, but not only between nations, but between animals and humans, and between humans and nature. All of creation, according to their songs, will be calm and at peace, not wanting or needing to hurt anyone or anything, not predators like the lions, and not human countries, which go to war, of course. No more sickness or sorrow or pain. They understand that their situations can lead to hope and joy in spite of all appearances. Isaiah teaches his people a new understanding of God, that the Holy One who traveled with Abraham, who was with them in Egypt and on their travels to the Promised Land, is still with them in their exile, that God is not dependent on a place or a space, that God is present always. And Mary, too, looked beyond the present to a future hope, trusting in God's promises to her and to her people, and she saw joy in a new world poised to come on earth. Oh, we'd all like to live in such a world, wouldn't we? Whether we're living through a physically difficult time, or dealing with spiritual pain, or with grief of one kind or another, we would be overjoyed for it to be over, or to be at peace. For the pain to be gone, for our hope to be renewed, for people to be in harmony, no more war or hunger or disease or damaged creation. And on this third Sunday of Advent, we pause a moment and simply savor the joy promised to us, reveling in the hope that it offers. I can imagine what that perfect world looks like for me. Peace among the nations, living gently on the earth, caring for one another so that everyone has enough, whether that's love or food or one place to live or clothing or work. That would be joyful, wouldn't it? But joy doesn't come on its own. Some people seem to believe that if others only believe enough or pray hard enough, then Jesus will come and magically fix everything. But it's more complicated, of course, and difficult than that. As per usual, nothing is ever as simple as we want it to be, is it? There's a better world on the way. It is possible, but it won't just happen on its own, or because we wished hard enough, or prayed hard enough, or believed hard enough, or preached in tongues, or wrote a famous book on theology. The thing is, God has given us everything we need to make that world happen. We have all the parts. We just haven't gotten them together yet. I want to use the metaphor, because I think everybody can identify with this one, the metaphor of an IKEA shelving unit. We've all dealt with IKEA furniture, right? Or something like that. Yeah. We get everything we need in that box, okay, for that shelving unit. But the parts, when we take them out, don't always look like what we expect to be putting together. Maybe there are more bits and pieces, or it's harder to put together. It's very complicated. Or maybe it's heavier than we thought. I remember one microwave cart I put together. I swear to God, I needed a crane to get it into the house. There are tools in that box, and with them and the instructions, we can put together the bookcase. But I don't know about some of you, but those instructions seem really hard to understand sometimes. It's like they've been translated from language to language to language to English, and something got lost along the way. Those tools they supply sometimes just simply aren't up to the task. How many Allen wrenches do we all have? Floating around in drawers, and yet what you really need is a Phillips screwdriver, right? We've been there. But this better world is that bookcase. It's useful, it's beautiful, it's needed. We have the tools we need to make it happen. Our ability to understand and sympathize with others is one tool. Our ability to communicate our needs and wants, to negotiate, to share our open hearts with love and grace and hope. Those are the tools, and we have them. And our instructions, well, those are the best impulses of our spirits. We often stifle them, sometimes without even realizing it, and we work instead to advance our own interests or to put others down, ignoring the needs of strangers, living in fear of people who are not like us. But those guiding moments can lead us to understanding and mutual support, opening our hearts to the possibility of love and peace and harmony, that better world. I know it sounds impossible, pie in the sky, and yet I promise you that if we can respond to anger with kindness, to listen instead of shouting back, to be open to possibility instead of sure we know the answers, then we're on the way to that better world. And that's what we're celebrating today. Jesus' mission was to remind us that we can do all that. We have that capability to give to each other and to receive, which is sometimes even harder than giving. We can care for other human beings too. Speak the same language. You can care for other human beings whether they look superficially like us or not, whether they think like we do, speak the same language, live in the same place, have the same faith or not. We are all siblings of this earth and of our Creator. This world is our only home, and we can take care of each other. Jesus gave us examples and a guide to follow. When faced with simple injustice, he spoke out against it, or healed those who needed it, or revealed hypocrisy and false modesty. He encouraged those who didn't have much that the world values, and we can do the same. So if we have joy at Christmas, it's the joy of having a path and a guide to show us the way to that better world. And we celebrate his arrival among us with joy. In all God's names. Amen.
Amen.